Yo, what is love, relationships, and race? I never do that, I notice. I don't say the title of the video. But, if you're watching this on YouTube, I wanted to do a cold open, but fuck it. The disclaimer is here first. So I fucked that up. But if you're watching this on YouTube, please go to my BitChute channel. I do not make content for YouTube. I don't bite my tongue for YouTube's gay algorithm like a lot of these fake ass grifters. So YouTube is prone to ban and suspend my account at pretty much any time, which just happened recently. A lot of people are really stubborn when it comes to this. I see other creators complain about it. You're free, obviously, to do whatever the hell you want, but if you like this content, your access to this content is going to be primarily on BitChute. BitChute does not bite. You will not get a virus. You will not get an STD. It's fine, okay? So, go on BitChute. But hey, if the video is on YouTube and you prefer YouTube, go for it. But anyways, so there's this guy named Michael Threets. And we're gonna, I peppered this throughout the video. But he is a good example of how especially black presenting men get pigeonholed. Nobody, it seems, ever wants to see us in a productive context. One of the things that white nationalists do is they will take the entire thing that you said. Despite speaking in plain English much better than they do, much more eloquently as well, they will literally sit there and rewrite the entire thing in Ebonics or the most nasty sounding African American vernacular. Even if you're not American, they do this shit. So to me, that's like an example of how, why is it when a black man is anything other than the stereotype, people try to pigeonhole him. They try to force you into that pigeonhole. It's a fucked up thing. And I'm not the only person to notice this. I've heard people talking about this for ages now. But it seems like it's changed. It's definitely changed over the years, but it seems like it's mostly changed for the women, because black men and women have been split into like two separate political groups. I believe that's by design. I can get into, all my theories about that. But it's like the man has to always be the threat. And I talk about this every so often, not necessarily on my channel, but on my channel as well, But anyway, so Michael Threets apparently got bullied off the internet for being weird. That's what I surmise from the whole situation. I don't really, you guys know me well enough to know, I don't really follow shit like that. I'm not some deep investigative journalist because I don't really care like that. I'm going to be honest with you. Like, I see what little shit is on the internet and I'm like, okay, and I kind of piece it together from there. So I always got to add that little disclaimer. But it's like, yeah, he's weird. If I'm being totally honest, he low-key gives pedo vibes. But it changes nothing about the fact that guys like this, when they're not black, everyone loves and embraces them and thinks that they're cool. They don't have any issue operating in the way that they deem appropriate or the way that they want to. So we get so pigeonholed and typecast, it's not even funny. Meanwhile, Young Thug, Lil Durk, you guys can probably hear shitty rap music in the background. Not the good, there's good rap music. That ain't it. Not to me, at least. But meanwhile, Young Thug, Lil Durk, and them get promoted up the ass. Playboy Cardi, flagrantly satanic, wearing thongs and all that shit. Lil Nas X, they get promoted, man. It's a system, man. This shit is systematic. And I kind of try to talk about like how people, it's crazy to me how similar black men especially are similar to incels. there's a lot of parallels there. There's certainly a lot. But yeah. Maybe I should probably make a whole video about that. Like all the parallels between black people, especially black men, and the incel community. But yeah. And then it's like people turn around and they say, "Oh, it's black culture. It's black culture." No, the fuck it's not. Historically, this has never been black culture. It's been made to be this way. And that's what racist normies don't get, no matter how many times you try to explain it. That's what people want black culture to be. It's the same as incel culture. They want you to think that incel culture is about shooting up schools and raping women and all this shit. But what do actual incels do in their actual lives? It's usually the so-called narcissistic boyfriend that ends up killing these women and raping these women and all this stuff. Like, women are typically victimized by the people that they're close to. People in general. That seems like it's just common sense, really. And it's like, let's face it, they like that shit. They get turned on by it. Like, women love the interplay of fucking with a guy. And it just so happens that a lot of guys, they snap. You know, of course, I don't think the woman ever anticipates that the guy snaps and flat out kills them or stalks them, threatens their life, their family. Endless stories like this. They always gaslight you, and they paint the woman out to be the victim, and oh, she's such a wonderful person. They do this every time. But they don't say what led up to that, especially when it's a black man. I saw a story with some young black man who killed his white girlfriend or some shit. And I'm like, I just know, because I have too much personal experience for me to just be like, oh, he's just a wild nigger. Like, I'm not doing that, because I know she did something. Like, in my heart, I just know. I know. And whatever she did just set him off. Because that's how women are. Like, they're very subtle with that shit. Like, they know how to abuse in like a very subtle and emotional manner to basically bait you into doing something physical. I don't think they anticipate that you'll actually kill them or even beat them up. I don't know if, some of them like that shit, but I don't think they anticipate it. But they certainly, like to play on that. Like, it's almost like an amusement park ride to them. That's why they love Bad Boys so much. They like the thrill of, damn, he might just beat me or kidnap me. Like, they like that. And that's something that we as a society are completely oblivious to, it seems, and we don't really want to have that uncomfortable conversation about female, because it calls female nature into question, our ideal of what female nature actually is. But anyway, so yeah, what do incels actually do? Nothing. It's usually the boyfriends and the husbands and the guys who are able to actually get and be close to these women that end up doing shit like that. That's not an incel. Maybe you need to learn what the definition of that actually is. But anyway, anytime that they see differently in a black man outside of the typecasting that they subject us to, they almost instinctively will destroy that thing that is different from the toxic norm. And it's not just black people who do this. Everyone does this. They go into attack mode whenever they see a black man doing something different from the expectation. It's almost like if you were to put on a suit or some shit, it's like, ooh, look, there's a monkey in a suit. Like, it's kind of like almost funny in a way. And I think people can't really articulate that. Because I know all the times that I've actually dared to like wear a suit or whatever for like a job interview or something. It's like, you do get a lot of attention. And I know the attention is amplified racially along racial lines. But anyway, I don't think it's so much. A lot of the women I don't think are like what's the word? I don't know, misandrist like that towards black men. It seems like the least anti-black misandrist people are non-black women, funny enough. And the men who are not, of all races, who are not insecure. So, just my observations, really. Anyway, so I recently saw a black woman walking with a little girl, like a toddler, and a toddler's tiny legs can only go so fast, obviously. And the woman is like, "Can you walk faster? My hands are cold from holding your hand." Next thing you know, she is forcing the kid to walk faster, and the kid starts crying. This bitch is more worried about herself than the damn kid. I really think perhaps women should not be left unsupervised with kids. Certainly not for long periods. It's almost like because women, they have a natural affinity with children. That's true, but also like that's their kids are almost like their opportunity to exhibit the authority that they don't have with men, right? Because they can't beat us up, right? Tell me you haven't seen that in play itself out. Like literally just that's where they get to exhibit the most primal form of authority, which is like, I'm stronger than you physically. But anyway, it's like they're really just a few unpleasant feelings away from child abuse. Men are not like that because we get held accountable. Lack of accountability is a one-way trip to psychopathic behavior. Just look at black women. Everybody looks at men as the predators when the real predator is right there. The real one is always the least suspected and the least accused. They get the most benefit of the doubt. And just like George Carlin said, no one cares. No one cares. People are happy to be lulled to sleep by demons. And I'm going to get into that later. But anyway, there's this game that I heard about called Two Werewolves. And it shows that people have no real ability to discern who their enemies are. I think we're pretty much all guilty of this. But basically, everyone gets a card saying what they are. Two people are cast as werewolves. Everyone else is a villager. The two werewolves have to kill the villagers, and the villagers have to kill the two werewolves. Each turn, everyone closes their eyes or turns their back or whatever, and the werewolves have to decide who they're gonna kill. It's probably better to just turn the lights off, so you guarantee people won't cheat. But apparently this game was created as a social experiment to show that two people operating clandestinely, 2% of the population, two people operating clandestinely are stronger than 10 people who are not, or hell, even 100 people. The werewolves, I heard, usually win the game at least more than they're supposed to, or expected to. I'm sure the Ash experiments and manufactured consensus applies here. Apparently this game was designed as a social experiment. If I didn't say that already. That's what happens when you when you drink and make videos. But yeah, if you want to become a barber, you should go to a barber. If you want to become a mechanic, then go to a mechanic. If you want to become a Muslim, then go to a Muslim. Go to the Imam, and he'll say, come, I show you how to defecate on your first beach. I show you, my friend, I show you how to chop infidel head off, clean. They chop everything on their head, balls, dick, hand. Motherfuckers just like to chop. As you might imagine, I've never been stupid enough to go to any Arab country. Yes, go to Morocco. Go to Morocco. Go to Morocco, brother. They love the black people. Nope. I'm good. Next thing you know, you're tied up in a caravan, being driven away by camels. I give best shish kebab, man. Best shish kebab. But they didn't tell you that you are the shish kebab, really. I just think that's funny. That's something funny that I've always kind of touched on here and there. Go to India, bro. Go to India, bro. You know how much shit I see saying that these places don't like black people. There was a video that was particularly harrowing, where harrowing, dramatic word. Like this African dude was going around and like, yeah, no, you don't want Africans in our hotel. And you're like, they turned him away. Indians are definitely the most anti-black incels that I've seen so far, if I'm just going on personal experience. Some of them are cool, but it was about 50-50, for me. I guess it's the whole Aryan connection with Stormfront fags and people like that. Neo-Nazis, I suppose. Which is kind of strange because in real life, you don't see that too much with the Indian people. I guess they know how to hide it. The Indian storm fags rarely show their own racism. It's like they try to put other races against black people and Jews, and it's kind of a weird thing, I guess. It seems like they're about as politically and socially retarded as East Asians, the South Asians, as they call it now. It's kind of like the Singaporeans I was talking about not too long ago. The black population is well under 1% where he lives, but he wants to go to America to, quote, help the white people with the blacks. If you think a black person's experience in India is in any way comparable to whites, you must be a dipshit normie. All you have to do is Google. There's like viral videos of random white people walking around and in India and instantly becoming celebrities. And it's like, I don't want to be the stereotype, African Americans are always complaining about racism. So I try not to do that because I was so disgusted the other day. I saw a man with a $200 billion net worth complaining about institutional racism. And I'm like, what the fuck? What is this guy complaining about? Clearly, racism never stopped him from doing anything. Apparently, he is the first or second richest man on Earth. And his name is Elon Musk or something like that. So I just thought that was pathetic. You're sitting there with more wealth than probably most countries on the planet, complaining about institutional racism. How dare you? How dare you have the audacity? But if a black guy makes $20,000 a year and he complains about institutional racism, it's ridiculous, right? That's ridiculous. You have so many opportunities that you wouldn't have in your own country, which we destroyed and colonized and pillaged and raped. What are you complaining about? These people are ridiculous, man. But anyway. Damn, fucking alcohol is hitting already. Yeah, that's fine. My videos do turn out better than I expect when I'm drunk, like really drunk. But let's see how it goes. Yeah, man. Yeah, it's amazing. It's truly amazing how much mental real estate heterosexual black men occupy, even with other black men, like especially the ones that are more on the effeminate side of things. You know, which that could be Lil Nas X. Lil Nas X is the extreme. He's the extreme side of the spectrum, but that could also be the guy who's just raised by a single mom or raised by women. It could also be Terry Crews. You know, it could also be, like, I don't think guys understand, like, that guy manifests on the effeminate spectrum in many different ways. It's not necessarily in your face, oh, I love cock. Like, it's no. It's not necessarily that. It could just be, well, you criticize women too much. I was raised by a single mom, okay? And actually, and the guy on the outside, he looks very masculine, again, like Terry Crews. But deep down, he has a lot of animus for any kind of black masculinity. And that's the person you need to identify. Lil Nas X, God bless his soul, he's going to at least show you. And I think I talked about this before, but he's going to show you what he is. You know, it's the, I think I talked about the interview. I've talked about that interview where the guy was like, he verified something I thought for a long time, which is like the Christians, because he was a gospel singer, and it's like, yeah, the Christians are actually the most demonic. The closer you are to God, the further away you are. You know, because at least the Satanist Aleister Crowley person is like, yeah, I worship Satan and Baphomet, and they wear all black, and they're showing you what they are. The Christian, nah, but they're doing the same shit, if not worse, because that Christian is trying to fool you into thinking they're a good person. That's who you need to be looking for. Not the what's the guy's name? I don't even know his name. Not the people who actually go to the Church of Satan and do all that kind of stuff. Because they're there, you know, they're physically there. They're physically showing you what they are. It's like, yeah, sure. They're at least showing you can't trust them, like the Malcolm X saying, with the liberals being foxes and the conservatives being wolves. But yeah. So back to the original subject. Boyce Watkins, also known as Moist Watkins by a lot of people. I've talked about him here and there over the years. He went semi-viral because apparently the rapper known as Killer Mike had to pay his mammy taxes after getting in trouble with some mammy. I don't know the whole story. I think it was at the Grammys. Grammy Mammy. I think it was at one of those award shows. But so naturally, he started dick policing black men, or alternatively, somebody pulled up some old clip of him or some shit. And Boyce Watkins supported him in his scrutiny of other black men and where they stick their penises. Why is that a problem? Well, if you need to ask why, that's the problem right there. But the issue is that Boyce Watkins' daughter married, allegedly. You can verify this if you want. Like I said, I don't really dig that deep on this stuff. Apparently, she's married to a white man, but because I actually did see tweets of him saying, "Yeah, well, his daughter married a white man," and I don't know, he's practically bragging about it, which is weird. But he himself has a light skinned wife who, a so-called black person who has a complexion like that is probably not far-fetched to say they have significant European DNA. So I don't know, man. I don't understand what part of the game this is where your daughter is married to a white man and you are on the internet dick policing black men. A lot of people were commenting on this. But this is this is this is what I talk about. Maybe I don't want to understand what part of the game this is. I mean, I might find out some things I would prefer. Well, I can't say I would prefer not to know. I do want to know things, but things that would disturb me, I guess I would say. So, yeah. I just don't understand the obsession. I obsess over people who obsess over me. I don't get the obsession. Robert F. Smith had no problem being an asset to his community while being married to a white woman. That didn't stop him from paying off the student loans of an entire graduating class of students at a historically black college. That's more than Dr. Umar has done to date. The school's not up yet, So to date, up until now, or heretofore, or whatever, hitherto, I don't know. But so far he goes around and gives speeches. The school's not up and running. It remains to be seen whether the school would actually be a real asset. That's going to take a long time to even figure out and to audit, if you will. But it's like I keep saying, man. I mean, I'm still right. 2 + 2 is still 4. A man can always be useful to his community, regardless of where he sticks his genitals. Not so much the other way around, especially since a woman's primary utility is to carry children. It's like cheating on the macro level. On a micro level, a man sticking his dick into another woman is not a big deal. He even becomes more attractive to the main woman. Quiet is kept. A woman getting fucked by another man is the absolute death of that relationship, spiritually if not literally, because she's completely divested emotionally. And when you're dealing with an emotional creature, you can put 2 and 2 together. I've never seen a situation where the woman was cheating and still invested in the guy that she was cheating on. The other way around, it's a different story, completely. And I think this is common sense to people, but no one can say it because they're too scared, which I guess I can understand. But it's not in my ideological cowardice is just not in my DNA, period. The male-female dynamic naturally requires female submission, unless she is a useless cunt, which is like 99.9% of them. It's amazing. It's really amazing because it's like I don't want to toot my own horn, but it's like I'm the good guy, because I only want for women what they want for themselves. I don't think they should have any responsibilities. It is a tragic and terrible thing for a society when people who fundamentally do not want responsibility have responsibilities, which I suppose biology has not prepared them for, and that they're not equipped to handle. Half of these women don't even want to raise their own kids or have a real job, which, fine, I'm obviously not going to judge anybody off that. I'm sure, but the irony is that like women are so easy to manipulate on a social grand scale level that they still find themselves in this position of being feminists and competing with men and proving how equal they are and all this. A lot of women have been calling this out actually recently. Like, oh, feminism is a scam. Isn't that funny? Right as the economy starts to break down, and there's a science to this shit, man. The elite know exactly what they're doing. I think, if not close. I'm sure some of you guys saw the video of the girl completely losing her shit at her newborn baby and the baby daddy, only for the normies to come out in droves and defend her.
Oh my god, she has postpartum depression.
Those guys never get excuses like that, man. Ever. It's like, yeah, let me rape a bitch and say, oh, it's because I'm a Sagittarius. My bad. We've all heard women say shit like this. Oh, I'm a Cancer. I sidestep everything like a crab. That's why I cheated on you and lied about it and burned your house down. I literally heard that. on YouTube on Soft White Underbelly. It was like this bald white dude. Shit, I shouldn't have said that. That's discrimination. Isn't that sad? That's the first thing I remembered about him. Oh, he's bald. That's your entire identity when you're bald or balding. He wasn't even fully bald. But I'm just trying to give people easy identifiers, Infidelity. It was an infidelity story. His kid wasn't his and all that. But it's like, yeah, we don't get to use those excuses, man. Oh, sorry, I beat my wife. It's just the Aries in me. It's just the Aries in me acting up again. Mercury's in retrograde, and I don't know. Oh, that's just my dry dick syndrome acting up. Had to choke and rape a bitch again. My bad. DDS again. Dry dick syndrome. It's like, come on, man. It's in the DSM-7, bro. Just check. It's there. We need to start doing that. But men are stupid. Men, we would never weaponize. We would never weaponize the human psyche like that. Men are still stuck in that. I'm just gonna bash your skull. That's why I say women are Jews. Women and Jews, man. People who have historically not had physical dominance or numbers, or they've always found other ways. Like, all right. Well, I'm gonna say that I got a place where you can give me your money and I'll keep your money safe for you, Goya. Compadre, and they always found other ways to ensure their survival and security. Isn't that interesting? Yep. I got this thing called a loan for you. Oh, he's trying to buy something you can't afford. I'll take care of you. Just pay me back. Just pay me back, man, with a little extra on top, for the inconvenience. It's like women are like, it's like pussy, It's like, yeah. Oh, you wanna know what this feels like? You wanna know what this feels like? All you gotta do is give me a little, Well, we'll figure something out. We'll figure out an arrangement. But women are even more subtle with it. I think they're more subtle. But anyway, the average man actually loves responsibility, strangely. That's what I've observed. He likes to shoulder the burden of other people that are perhaps weaker than him, like a knight. When all is said and done, he takes pride in that. And let's face it, it's probably because this is the only way men can have value. women have inherent value in that Darwinian sense because they have pussies, and mammaries and wombs, and we already know this story. If you're a man who sees himself as having inherent value, you probably are going to have a bad time in life. Not unlike the woman who thinks that she has to earn her value. It's always the opposites, polarity. You know, not unlike the woman who thinks she has to earn her value because,
Oh my god, I have a college degree. Why am I still single?
because you think you're a man. Maybe that's the reason. It's everything other. The answer is always everything other than the thing that's right there. Isn't that crazy? Right under your nose. People are telling you to your face all the time. If not in your face, it's always in your face. Isn't that interesting? You get distracted. We get distracted from the answer a lot. You know. But it's like, could people like Boyce Watkins really be as stupid as to think that the way to empower a people is to empower the women and chastise the men? You know, Tommy Sotomayor was talking about how he was, when black kids, like the culture shock of a black kid going to their white friend's house, and the white kid is calling his mom a bitch, and he's doing whatever the fuck he wants and all this shit. And Tommy kind of put the pieces together. He's like, oh, they're actually these little boys are actually being trained to conquer us. That's why their parents let them do whatever the fuck they want. So by the time they're adults, they have not been beaten down psychologically by people telling them what they can't do. But you notice in the black household, largely because it's so gynocentric, it doesn't work this way. You can't do this. You can't do that. All you hear about as a young black male is what you can't do from childhood. That's all you ever hear. Meanwhile, the white kid is calling his mom a bitch, and she's not doing shit because she's training him to conquer you and your people. Isn't that amusing? I could never say that to my mom. Like, how many black kids had a culture shock? Oh my God, he just cursed at his mom. Yeah, because he's the man of the house. That's just a foreign concept to the average black person in America. But anyway, yeah. It's like they don't want to build up the warrior class. They don't want to. To them, the warrior class is supposed to take orders for women, which, haha, joke's on you, idiot. It's like having Michael Jordan on the team and not passing him the ball. And then you lose by 50. He takes the blame for the loss because he's the star player. And it's no surprise, man. Boyce Watkins was raised by a stepfather. His wife literally bosses him around on camera. Which, that whole thing is a can of worms in and of itself. The woman clearly does not like him. I swear it's always these people who have some subconscious animosity for their group of men, especially black men, all the while chasing after female approval eternally and forever. So, but anyways, women don't want responsibility, and your child has almost no responsibilities. And it's because they have no responsibilities that they don't get to make decisions either. Certainly not important decisions. As we all know, women want power without responsibility, like the Spider-Man quote. Modern women have lots of responsibilities, or should I say blunted responsibilities, which is to say that a man and a woman can work in the same workplace, have the same job. She has less responsibilities than him inherently, just because she's a woman. people are always easier on women than men, inherently. Sometimes I talk about that little stint that I had working at Walmart like a normie piece of shit. And to this day, I remember them making the guys go outside to move the shopping carts, and they let the women just chill in the break room. I should have, and I probably could have sued them, because there was some law, section fucking 90 whatever or some shit, that you can't discriminate based on gender, sex, and things like that. I don't know if they said sex, but same thing, I guess, in essence. That's just one explicit example. I mean, imagine all the other little things that you could clock if you're really looking out for pro-female bias, anti-male bias. But again, society is so culturally and mentally, psychologically cocked, in America, at least in the Western world, that, I mean, that would probably have to be like a class action, or I don't know how that works. But, yeah. So, oh, shit. Damn. Holy, what the wow. So what happens when you get drunk? The video always ends up super long. This is supposed to be like much shorter, but whatever. I'm gonna go with it. Yeah, I mean, it's stuff like that that makes me realize that there's no such thing as live and let live in a world full of normies and bitches. They take out their insecurities and frustrations on other people. It's like someone is always trying to encroach on your autonomy. I feel like I've spent my entire life in enemy territory. The older I get, the more I hate going outside. It's mostly zombies out there, like Resident Evil or Left 4 Dead 2. You only get so many save rooms and hideouts. And in some of those games, the zombies can actually break into the safe room, just to spice it up, I guess. The fuck is that noise? Somebody has a messed up vehicle, I guess. I'm not gonna get up to look. I'm settled. I'm settled in. This video was supposed to be long. It's gonna end up longer than I wanted. I only had like an hour of written shit, but only an hour of written shit. See, that's what happens. That's what happens when you're a writer. When you're a real writer, you just be writing. But yeah. Again, people don't know. People don't know, man. People don't know. Like we're cut different. Cat Williams is cut different. But anyway. Let me see what else. It's not healthy. Speaking of the safe rooms, it's not healthy for an incel to go outside. Just like it's not healthy for men to be emotional and show their feelings. Normies will give you terrible advice. They give you contradictory gaslighting advice, which is rooted in just world fallacy, when we clearly don't live in a just world. So you can't trust them. Can't trust them. The great irony is that everyone knows the truth. That's what I always come back to. Everyone, but they operate as if there's no one who knows the truth because no one actually speaks it. It's like they say God is laughing. You know how many normies already knew about the Jews? They just needed some authority figure like Ye or Cat Williams or somebody to step up and say something to make them feel safer. Most people operate in a way where they think they're the only ones who know the inconvenient truths of the world. And instead of telling their fellow man and sharing this information, they keep it to themselves. It's a tragedy of the commons. And yeah, of course there's exceptions. This is why the truth is the ultimate thing. And brotherhood is important. Actual brotherhood. Of course, most men are female identified, so. But insofar as real brotherhood exists, it's a good thing. Because it's essentially a network that operates based on truth. There are certain conversations you can't have with women and female identified faggots that you can have with other men. So, and that's something normies will never understand, man. I'm just aiming for the truth. I'm not saying I'm always going to hit it, but the truth is the bullseye that I'm always aiming for. Just outside of that bullseye, cool, always funny, kind. Those are like the outer rings on the dartboard. I'm not targeting people or individuals. I don't think small like that. It's like the Bible says, principalities, not flesh and blood. Yeah, some people might catch a stray here and there depending on how close they are to the target, but I just aim for the thing no one else is aiming for. And I know I'm going to hit the other shit just by accident. Just by accident, because I'm aiming for the fucking bullseye. Seek truth through funny. Seek funny through truth. Like Patrice O'Neal said. And yeah, dysgenic men often choose extreme or so-called extreme ideologies to draw attention to themselves to increase breeding potential. I think that is something that we do subconsciously, because I've talked about this, like we have nothing to lose, blah, blah, blah. The conventional route does not work for us. The conventional route to success is pretty much guaranteed failure for a dysgenic or autistic male. We're not conventional people. The conventional route does not work for us. It's just a bunch of normies tripping you over and over like a prank. They misdirect you on purpose, it seems, because they like watching you fail. And let's face it, a lot of normies are failing themselves. Most of them are, but too many of them are stupid to realize that. So they'll try to convince you to do the same shit they're doing. So at least they have some company, right? Misery loves company. But yeah, I appreciate the donations, especially the consistent ones. Some people are super consistent. You know, I appreciate the consistency more than anything, because it shows you really fuck with me. Even $5 is great. You know, I've kind of said that already. It's like, for $5 a month, you can feed this starving African child. Please donate now. Like those commercials they had back in the day. Yeah, I've been watching the videos that people have been sending me. People send me interesting stuff, you know. If you send me a book, I can't promise to read a book. I'm not like a huge reader like that. You know, but I'll at least look into it. And you know, it takes a lot for me to get up and say, all right, I'm gonna read a book. Even books, I have I probably got like 20 books. It's like, I got a lot of books I've been wanting to read, but just never been a big reader like that, unfortunately. But more than most. I mostly just read bullshit on the internet, articles, things like that. But anyway. Yeah, BitChute has its own version of Patreon, and it's called PayShoot. I've been trying to, like, you know, show people that it seems like they're ironing out the kinks of that. Somebody told me that it didn't work for them. So, I don't know, your mileage may vary. If it works for you, great. But yeah, there's some subscription tiers on there for $5, $10, and $20. I put $5, $10, and $20 on my shit, for those of you who feel so inclined, which is like nobody. But whatever. I got my regulars. I got people who donate regularly, so I'm good. I'm good off that, to be honest. But Anything is appreciated. Feed that starving African child, that proverbial. Anyway, but YouTube has suspended my account as of today, March 1st, this recording. And it's supposed to be back up in a few days. I want to say like the 4th or something. They kind of confuse you a little bit. Like, I don't know. Something said May. The month of May. I want to say I've had a strike on there that just never went away, and it's been there for years. I don't know how it works. I don't really care. YouTube will mentally destroy you, which is why you don't invest in that bullshit. Especially it will definitely destroy you if you have a real bag on YouTube and you really believe in the content that you're making. I mean, Myron Gaines cried on the camera when they got demonetized, and I understand. I just think that that's all the more reason not to be invested in YouTube like that, because, I mean, it's YouTube. Like you gotta understand the game. They will pull that rug out from under you the moment you least expect. Like, it's almost like they want to maximize how much pain they do. And that's exactly why you just don't invest in that shit, and you do some other thing. Some other platform. Your own platform. Shit, because hand out, record on your phone and just hand out CD. I mean, whatever you need to do to get your shit out there. So that's how I feel about it. That's why I don't really sweat about it. Yeah. I don't think the conservative platforms are much better. X is okay, but it's like pretty much everyone has certain kinds of speech that they're sensitive to. And they will limit that speech if they are at all capable of doing so, or they're forced to do so by people complaining. Free speech is more of an ideal to maybe aspire to than an actual reality. I think the illusion of free speech is slowly, again, the Protocols of Zion actually goes into this. Like the illusion of free speech is slowly kind of like disintegrating. Like, people realize, nah, we can't. Because it's like, we are social creatures. If you want free speech, then go scream in the desert. But with the way that the technological singularity is going, even that is probably not going to be free. With all these brain implants and all that. They're literally banning people on Discord just for talking to certain other users or being in certain chat rooms. And that's why I never liked that shit, because I know who runs it, and I know feds are pretty much swarm Discord, to my understanding. Never liked it. It's guilt by association now. And I've heard of people getting banned from Reddit for being on other websites outside of Reddit. They didn't actually break the Reddit rules. They were just on some other website that Reddit people don't like. So that's crazy to me, but normies, I don't know what else to say. Yeah. I'm gonna take a break here. All right. Yeah. Wait, I got my glasses. Can't even. Always something.
It's a beautiful night in New York City, if I say so myself.
No, it was actually nice today. First day of March. This is when you start marching. This is when you're going to war. I'm not going to no fucking war. But apparently, what was it? Was it Australia? They said they're considering conscription. Everybody's saying World War III, World War III. You know, they're talking about this shit like WrestleMania, like they're hyping it up. World War III. Yeah. Coming soon. It's like, World War III is going to be lame as shit. World War III is going to be like AI and robots and, you know, gay people and subterfuge, diplomacy. It's like, for all we know, it already happened. We just don't know. Like, World War III is going to be gay. It's not going to be dudes in trenches shooting each other and eating beef chips and brotherhood, and it's not going to be any hardcore shit like that. But hey, I suppose we'll see. It's almost like it's not even necessary at this point, because the population is so fucked and the economy is so malleable to manipulation. I'm kind of just talking out the ass, but yeah. COVID, you might say COVID was essentially World War III. And they can just keep replenishing that scam over and over again. But I don't know. I'm kind of just talking. But yeah, surely there's a reason that practically every religion, interprets this world as hell, because it's purgatory. It's purgatory at best. It's like an endless vicious cycle, as many systems of faith have proposed. It's like nothing ever fucking changes, man. Like McNulty from The Wire said. And the more things change, the more they stay the same. Women are heinous whores. Everybody's diabolical and delusional. Powerful people are evil and don't care. It's the same movie over and over again with different actors. It's the same script. It's the same stage, same theater, different actors. You know. There was a incel interview, quote unquote incel, with Soft White Underbelly. I wish I downloaded that, man. I didn't realize it would be deleted so quickly. If somebody has it, hey, by all means, email it to me. I'm sure somebody out there will have it, but literally all it takes is one pic to know that the guy's not an incel. This is how the normie brain functions, man. Of course, the video, like I said, it was removed the very next day because the guy was revealed to be a fraud. Isn't that funny? I immediately, and a lot of people did this, so I'm not taking credit, but I immediately clocked him as a gay male model and an actor who's trying to scam, or like trying to, I immediately clocked that from the very beginning. It's like, as it turns out, he's trying to make his incel movie go viral or something like that. So he was literally everything aside from what he was calling himself, which is an incel. Which is what he's calling himself an incel. He was everything else. Actors are inherently fake people. Apparently everyone at the Daily Wire is a failed actor of some kind. So that's interesting. And I know these theater types. They are narcissistic as fuck. They make everything about them. They will reappropriate an entire subculture because they see that it's a fad. It's like the new fad to get attention. It's like once Francisco Lachowski and Sean O'Prey and guys like that started using look smaxing and black pill terminology, it was over, man. It was over. It's always been over, but it was certainly over at that point. Like once I saw that, Incel TV or somebody made a video about that. It's like lookism is completely legitimized now. Normies aren't even denying it anymore. I can't tell if this is a good thing or a bad thing. It's like, isn't that what incels and black pillars wanted all along? Like they say, be careful what you wish for. But that's the power of Chad. You know, once they start saying shit that we've already been saying for like a literal decade, watch every normie pick it up now. It's the degradation of a culture. It's literally the meme, the meme degradation of a culture. And Mark Leda is a retard for not seeing through that guy. But like I said, normie brain, this dude has been scammed so many times because I guess he's one of those people. He wants to see the best in people. Or does he? I don't know. Maybe he wants to see the best in himself. Who sees the best in people? I don't know. It feels, like I said, it does feel like some savior complex shit. Or white savior, you might say. But, yeah, he's operating from a state where being an incel is a choice rather than it being a demographic. Much like being black is a demographic. That's not a choice. You just are that thing. You know, an ugly person is just ugly. That's a demographic of person. That's not a choice. Normies don't get it, man. Idiots. But yeah. So then they could say, oh, if it's a choice, it's like if it's a choice, then a male model, a literal male model, can sit there and look you in the eye, call himself an incel, and you believe him. It allows them to keep pretending that being an incel is about personality. All the people were in the comments like,
Wow, he just needs to work on his personality. He's not even ugly.
these people need to get an actual incel to do this, because an actual incel with any kind of intelligence and speaking ability, which, you know, okay, those things kind of contradict themselves, but that person would completely destroy everything that they say, because normies just can't logic. It's like Tesla said about Edison. He would pick through each individual strand of hay just to find the needle in the haystack, instead of coming up with a more efficient and intuitive solution. That is normies in a nutshell. And so it's no wonder the elite have us all by the scrotum. Most people are like this, man. It's a unfortunate thing that I've come to realize. They can't think themselves out of a wet paper bag. I could be completely shit-faced, and I'm fairly drunk right now. I mean, a lot of my videos. And it's like, I still have more of a conscious soul, and I can still be more sharp than the average person on the street. And that's sad. That's a sad world to live in. I actually thought my last video was fucked up, like, because I was really drunk. That's probably one of the drunkest I've ever been for a video. Maybe the drunkest. You know, and then I played it back and I was like, wow, this actually turned out great. It's like, shit, I'm a fucking genius. Like, but while I'm recording the video, I'm like, damn, this is my worst video. What the hell am I doing? I'm literally just sitting here talking. I don't know what I'm saying. Is it that funny? But, yeah. And then Drunken Haze, Drunken Master, I guess. Yeah. The black pill is going mainstream. It's going mainstream. I saw that Hunter Avallone debate with the incel. He's actually one of the better posters on the incel forum. Yeah, I do follow this shit, man. I don't just talk the talk, okay? I don't know why people seem to think that's about people. Actually, I guess I can see why. Most people are fucking fake as shit, so it makes sense. You know, but by all means, test me. By all means, test my authenticity. Yeah, it's going mainstream. It was just a dumb debate. Normies use the same nonsensical arguments over and over again, man. He actually argued that Hunter Avalon actually argued that men making friends with other men somehow helps men get laid. And that's how men used to get laid in the 70s, and that's why we have an incel epidemic now. That was the implication. But it's like, first of all, when exactly have men stopped working together and socializing with each other? I see a lot of that every single time I go outside. And then the incel that he was debating pointed out that we live in the obvious, which is that we live in a completely different social climate. Like, you can't say, well, the men were working together in the 70s and that's why there was no, and that's such a it's a complete non sequitur. It's a dumb argument. But he also argued that men living with their parents is somehow hurting them in dating, and I can concede that one a little bit, but it's like it's nowhere near as much as he tried to play it up. That's the thing. Normies always ignore the elephant in the room. The elephant in the room is looks when it comes to dating as a man. Because it's like, if that's the case, if having your own place is so important, then Zoomer, Chads, Generation Z Chads, homeless drug addicts living on the street, sleeping on the street, college kids, none of these people should be having any kind of sex by that theory. Because they don't have their own place. It's a retarded fucking argument, and it's a red herring as well. Or is it a straw man? I think it's more of a red herring. But yeah, I don't know. It's like I question whether these people actually believe the things they say. It's so hard. It's so hard for me to believe that they actually believe this stuff. But hey, it is what it is, I guess. And then he goes on to say, and I'm paraphrasing here, but he says, where do you see women showing how ridiculous their standards are? But it's like literally in the same sentence, if not the sentence before, he cited the countless videos, the viral videos of women saying how high their standards are and how I won't settle for a man unless he makes $500,000 a year, and like all these crazy things they say in these videos about their standards. And it's like, yeah, of course, if he's Chad, then, he goes to the front of the line automatically. Again, looks is the elephant in the room here. And they always leave that part out. And then he says, feminists are bringing attention to how gender roles affect men negatively, and how, how feminists talk about how men need to be the provider, and it's unfortunate because it's gender roles and patriarchy. And I've heard this argument for many, many, many years from feminists. And it's like, so? So, because even if it's true, and feminists were talking about that kind of thing, and I don't think it is actually true, certainly not as true as they try to make us think. Feminists don't do shit about it either way, so it doesn't matter. They don't care. Feminists are just as hypergamous as every other woman, if not more so. He acts like feminists are out there dating poor sub-Chad men out of some communistic sense of sympathy. At best, you'll probably get some sort of open cuck relationship with a girl like that. And he completely ignores the quote-unquote feminists who flat out encourage women to be hypergamous. When do you ever see feminists trying to say to other women, you shouldn't be so hypergamous? When do you ever see that? When you see feminist activists say, that's a fucked up gender role that you're holding men to. You shouldn't want money from a man. They don't say that shit. What they say is, yeah, hell yeah, use these niggas. Use these niggas for their money. Like, that's what feminists say. They don't ever discourage women from being extremely hypergamous. So, again, another stupid normie argument. But that's why I don't bother with these people, man. I value my peace of mind too much. But, yeah. And then he goes on and says, women don't naturally want men to provide. Again, It's not even worth engaging, man. And he says they've become less hypergamous over time, less. But it's like, if hypergamy is not innate to women and they don't care about looks, there's literally no reason for the dating market to look the way that it does today. As a woman's income goes up, her expectations go up too. You have to be a fool to think that women are going as far as to make six figures and above just to turn around and date a low-income man. Again, they make exceptions for Chad and Pookie and Ray Ray because of hybristophilia and things like that. But that's literally the reason I've said many times that women make money and go out of their way to make a bunch of money and all that stuff, is to expand their dating options, which is the same thing that men do. It's funny how the similarities that men and women have, that we actually have, never come into play. They never enter the discussion. But the ones that we don't actually have is what normies base their worldview on. And feminists. You know, like this idea that a woman can be ambitious and hardworking and make a bunch of money, and that makes her just as attractive to a man, or it should make her as attractive to a man as it would make a man attractive to women. It's never the truth. Normies have no mental or moral baseline or foundation. Not philosophically or ideologically or anything like that. It's sad. But, I mean, shit. What are you gonna do, right? He said that so-called ugly men are messaged at higher rates than attractive men, and I mean, I guess whoever else. I mean, of course, a blue pill normie like this is not going to concede that there's such a thing as an attractive man, much less a physically attractive man. Again, I mean, I wonder how much of this shit is actually genuine and how much of it is just pandering, because it's like, oh, you know, trying to get female approval or whatever. Plenty of feminists say that shit, like, oh, a lot of guys are just feminists because they want to get laid. And the Joker has no rules, as they say. So Joker's gonna do whatever he needs to do to get laid and to reproduce. You know, there was a whole thread on the Incel forum about that. The Joker has no rules. You know, but he put it in a racial context. He's like, yeah, this is why white guys, which I think that's a part of it, but it's that's not the whole story of JBW. But anyway, not even close. But anyway, it's like, even if ugly men get messaged more, you gotta add context. This is why I hate when people, I'm gonna try to stop saying normies, but it's hard. It's like, it's the perfect word for them. But this is why it's important to think critically, because you can always add context to shit. Because it's like, even if it's true that so-called ugly men, which, how do you know? How do you even know? First of all, that's number one right there. How do you know they're ugly? Like, did the study show every single guy? Did the study show a picture of every single guy? Because it's like, even if that's true, most women are on those apps to waste time and get validation and attention. They admit this themselves. The message rate doesn't tell you much in and of itself. It's about who actually closes the deal and who actually gets to fuck. Again, this is why I always question quote-unquote dating and marriage data. It's better than nothing. It is better than nothing. But it is kind of flawed in this day and age of hookup culture. We need to start getting straight to the meat. And no pun intended. But yeah, we need to start looking at who the women actually fuck and how easily those men get to fuck. Which we do have we have data on that. Because we know from research that the guys that women seek out for short-term relationships, hookups in other words, and long-term security in other words, completely different. The guys are like polar opposites. Alpha fucks, beta bucks. Like women select for physicality and looks and things like that in the short term more so than the long term, it seems. So, and on top of that, there was even a study that found that, quote, women chat happily, send sexually explicit signals, and encourage the man's attention even if they have absolutely no interest in him, end quote. Marriage is really just a business decision for women, and quote unquote dating is oftentimes just a means of conducting and closing the deal. This guy was literally referencing stats from eHarmony of all places, which is about as outdated a source as you can imagine. eHarmony is like literally the first online dating thing, I want to say. And it was like, yeah, that was just, nah. Some people remember eHarmony. You might as well use data from Christian Mingle or something like that. I could pick apart this entire debate video piece by piece, but I don't want to spend too much time on it. It's nothing new. It's nothing new or novel in any way. So I already spent way too much time on it, actually. So, I already broke my own rule right there. But, yeah. It just proves that debates aren't won with logic. In the normie world, you win debates with looks, status, emotional appeals, aesthetics, sophistry, and just talking over people or making fun of their appearance, ad hominems, shit like that. How do you think these politicians are able to fool so many people over and over again? Debating people on their platform is not a good idea either, because it's like home court advantage. It's just like home court advantage, but even worse, actually, because they can always kind of manipulate the conversation, and like they're in the power position, they're in front of their audience. It's like, come on, man. So, it's all for show, really. The funny thing is that these guys like Avalon and Destiny always end up proving the black pill in their actual lived experiences. Isn't Hunter Avalon the same guy who is like a cuck and his girl got gangbanged by BBC and all this kind of crazy stuff? Like, somebody did an expose on that. Apparently it was the same guy that ran the train on her or whatever. It's the same guy. And Destiny's wife, who he was in an open relationship with, monkey branched to some effeminate Chad, and she divorced him. Monkey branches to effeminate Chad and divorces him. But yeah, I usually don't even bother watching black pill debates because I already know. It's like I've seen the video before I've even seen the video. I know exactly what the normie is going to say before they even say it. They literally all use the same rhetorical methods and talking points, and it's the same pattern over and over again. You really don't need to argue the black pill. It's completely indisputable. I don't need to argue with anybody that water is wet or that fire is hot. To debate simple, obvious shit like that is just masturbation or attention seeking. Those people who want to argue with you live lives, as I said, that confirms the black pill every single day, and they're just too foolish or dishonest to admit to that. So, moving on. Andrew Tate. Andrew Tate had he went on a rant about demons recently. They put out some good content with Fresh and Fit recently. I know a lot of people don't like them. A lot of black pillars and shit don't like them. They say a lot of shit I disagree with, but it is refreshing to see guys just sit in a room and talk honestly without estrogen corrupting the conversation. Anyway, I really did relate to what he said about demons. Now, you can just tell that there's something off about certain people. I've talked about this plenty of times, I'm sure. But it's like a look in the eyes, The eyes are the window to the soul, as they say. I remember I was at, I'm pretty sure I talked about this before, I lost. The guy gave me like some pamphlet or a card or something. I regret losing that shit. I regret losing that so much. It might still be somewhere, some former residence or whatever that I used to live at, but this guy was advertising RFID. If you're a real truther, you know about the RFID chip and how they, before we got into Neuralink and all this stuff, it was like, oh, the RFID chip, they're gonna install the RFID chip and like all that stuff into your body. And yeah, this guy was advertising something like that at this jewelry show. I used to sell fucking bootleg jewelry and all that shit. I've kind of talked about that, but yeah, I was at this convention. I had to be like the only black person there. It was in the Jacob Javits Center in New York City, which is where they do Comic-Con and all that stuff. But so it was a very large convention, and yeah, this guy was just weird, man. He's just really weird. He looked like he literally gave me the Kurt Angle stare, like the meme. Like that's how this dude was looking at me, and I'm just like he's a robot, And he didn't even look me in the eye. That's the crazier part. He was literally just staring directly in the middle of my forehead, like trying to like a laser beam the whole time, and we're somehow we're having a conversation. And the whole time, his eyes aren't moving from the very middle of my forehead, like a laser beam, just staring with the Kurt Angle stare. It was very surreal and it was weird. And I want to say the guy was a Freemason or something like that. I think I saw some Freemason, like the square and compass thing at some point. It was a while ago. It was like, at this point, that was like 10 years ago. So my memory's kind of fuzzy. Maybe he deleted my memory. But yeah, man. Sometimes you just get weird. You just get crazy vibes from people. Like the Japanese people call it senpaku eyes. There's like certain looks in the eye and things like that, and how much of the white area of the eye, the eyeball is exposed. Stuff like that. But yeah. I talk about the 2/3 theory. The Bible says 2/3 must perish. 70% of people are NPCs. They're just machines of consent and compliance. There was this one girl on X who had a really good video about it. I'll put it on the screen. But she put it in like new age spiritual terms, which is a little suspect, but I couldn't disagree with anything she said. Pretty much everything I heard was spot on in terms of like just how I feel about shit, to use that word, feel. I give credit where it's due once in a blue moon. Once in a blue moon, I'll see a female say some shit that's real. It's like they say a broken clock is right twice a day. But I have insane dreams. I really do. It's like a mix between really, really good dreams that are like, oh my God, I wish I didn't wake up. Wake up to the nightmare. It's like I say, the reality is the nightmare. Even my dreams that are technically are nightmares is still better than real life. I'll have some super crazy dreams with plot lines and like a movie. Like, damn, I gotta start writing this shit down. I could make a movie. But yeah, I had a dream about two demons recently. It was like sleep paralysis. It wasn't a conventional dream. It was a vivid dream, I want to say, which is a vivid dream is like you're dreaming. And you're dreaming. You're fully conscious of the fact that you're dreaming. You're kind of like in a half sleep state, I guess. People talk about that kind of stuff and how they see shit in the half sleep paralysis state. It was kind of like that. But it was more close to being a dream than, it's hard to describe. But yeah, it wasn't a lucid dream. A lucid dream, you can actually control. Actually, it was kind of a lucid dream. It was, again, it was somewhere on that spectrum of being a lucid dream, a actual dream, and just a vivid dream. It touched on. There was moments in the dream that was like all of them. So, but yeah, there was like at some point there was like these symbols. I was in my room the whole time, but my room was like a fun house. It was like a fun house mirror sort of thing. You know how it is with that. Everything was distorted. Like everything was moving, and the floor was moving. The walls were distorted. It was like, I guess, like what an LSD trip or something like that would be like. And there was a bunch of symbols on the wall. And all I can remember is that all the symbols vaguely looked like the boy lover symbol from the Pizzagate shit. Yeah. Yeah, I'm not making this shit up, man. It sounds crazy, but... And I just remember right before that dream, I was thinking about, like, parasites and shit. And, for whatever reason, because I was like... certain parasites are supposed to be more active at night. I just learned that. So that's why. And this is like this creepy guy on Twitter who posts about parasites and creepy stuff a lot. So that was kind of, I guess that's kind of where I got it from. But yeah, there's this nasty video on there too saying that, of this girl saying that she wake up every morning with worms in her underwear and all this shit. But, yeah. I mean, I've said for years that, that whole thing about white people not washing their ass is true. That shit's real. Them motherfuckers don't like to wash their ass, man. Obviously, there's exceptions. There's obviously exceptions. But it's not something they're particularly enthusiastic about doing. It seems to me. This is just what I've noticed. And it's documented. It's actually documented. There's at least there's like two passages from books that I've seen recently where they talk about, the Europeans, when they came to this climate, when they came to this environment, and the locals were trying to teach them, like, here, you gotta wash. We wash, we bathe 2 times a day, and they just didn't want to. So that's a thing. That's a real thing. I've certainly seen it in my personal life. I've taken showers with white whores. They don't be washing. They're not, again, they're not enthusiastic about it. That's probably the best way I can sum it up. Like, they don't take pride in that shit. Like a basketball player who doesn't want to shoot free throws or something, or play defense. But, it's like, yeah, of course there's a bunch of dirty black people too. That's the thing. It's not like every black person is like the image of hygiene. So, yeah. Wait, what the fuck? Whoa. Hold on. I'm gonna delay this for a second here. Wow. Okay, yeah. I thought I deleted part of my video script. But anyway. Yeah. They don't be washing their ass, man. But and they'll say that's anti-white racism. White people are babies, man. They're lactose intolerant. No, they're lactose tolerant. My mistake. They like milk and cheese and shit. They think anti-white racism is not being invited to a party. The funny thing about that, I keep thinking about that, but the funny thing about that is that the woman has a white husband. If you're her husband, do you feel oppressed by that? Again, it's like, if I was him, I would have thanked her. Thank God. I don't want to go to that bullshit anyway. Corny ass Christmas party. I get to play Fortnite. I get to stay home. See my side bitch, who's, his side bitch is probably a white woman. But she's holding out for Giga Chad. So he had to settle for an Asian woman to have kids with and start a family. And it's like, oh, and I get to fuck you when you come back?
Wow, thank you so much, honey. You should be more anti-white. Really sticking it to the man.
It's like those idiots who say that they're getting back at the white man by having kids with them. Female logic.
Yeah, and that'll really show him. I'll let him nut inside of me.
What a terrible day when these retards got rights, man. Worst day in all of human history. World War I and II combined were better than the day that women got rights. And both of those wars lasted years, right? It's probably like a combined 15 years or something. No, maybe not 15. Like 12. I'm ballparking it. But yeah, man. Yeah. But anyways, back to this dream. Yeah, like I said, it was like a funhouse mirror. The total distortion of reality. Like in Pathfinder, I played the Pathfinder games. It's like the abyss. The abyss is like a total distortion of reality and all that kind of stuff. Basically the embodiment of the chaotic feminine. So, and there was two demons, because I said it was about demons. It was two. I can't really remember the first one. The first one would seem like it was a male, like some big male sort of demon thing. And the other one was like a female demon that was like wrapped up in my my bed sheet for whatever reason, And it was like she was a part of the bed sheet at the same time. It was so weird. She's like green, and at some point, and I'm embracing it. I'm not afraid, maybe a little bit, but like I'm not afraid. I'm like, okay, I know what's happening. Like I said, it was kind of a lucid dream too. And for whatever reason, once I got tired of it, again, I'm not making this up. The experience was real, but was the experience reality? I don't know. So for whatever reason, I take my left hand and I put it on the left side of her hip because she's doing all this creepy shit and like chanting and all that. And I just start, well, no. I started chanting Jesus, and Jesus like under my breath. Jesus Christ. And I kept saying that like under my breath. And eventually, as I'm doing that, I'm like getting strength as I'm saying it. And then eventually I took my left hand, I put it on the left side or the right side of her hip because she's facing me. And the entire dream just broke. It's like breaking the spell. Like Tsukiyomi and Naruto or some shit. It's crazy. And then the next day, I was like, damn, this Jesus nigga's real. Nah. But hey, maybe real, just not in the way that you would think. Maybe he's the king of demons. So if you declare allegiance to him, then he won't fuck with you. And his people, his demons won't fuck with you. I don't know. I'm not claiming to know anything about this stuff. So that was interesting. And this was all taking place just the night before the full moon of February. And then the very next day, I went on Black Balloon's channel on YouTube. And he had this video in his video. He had a clip in his video that pops up from time to time in the Truther community. And the girl, it's a girl talking about how she used to be a witch and she used to engage in like remote spiritual warfare and all this crazy stuff. And she said that the Christians that were actively praying were always untouchable. They were always untouchable. And they had like this blue force field. They would have this blue force field around them when she's remote viewing them and all this kind of stuff, trying to cast spells. It sounds like sci-fi or fantasy. But yeah, the very next day, I stumble into that video again. You know, I don't know. Perhaps we are thinking or too preoccupied with the material world or realm. Yeah, I don't fucking know, okay? I'm just a drunk nigga on the internet. So, yeah. There was another video, speaking of materialism. I don't know if you guys saw the video with the girl showing her first date with the rich simp in New York. It's guys like that, man. He took her shopping at Hermes, took her fine dining on the first date, sends a car for her and all that. According to her, he said that he doesn't believe in anything less than princess treatment. So yeah, men like this actually exist. This is the first date and he's doing all this. So that's fucking crazy. Yeah, that's a bit much, man. And it's just knowing that there's guys like that are more common than not. You know, they just fuck the game up. They really do. But hey, alpha fucks beta bucks, I guess. So yeah, thank you. I guess I was wondering why I wasn't getting any matches on the dating apps, because even relatively average women are getting the so-called princess treatment. Of course, you have to wonder whether she even fucked the guy after all that. Probably not, right? I noticed that women are often ashamed of the men that they fuck and even date. Like, they literally have all the options to compartmentalize beta bucks and giga chads and all that. The worst part of the video is when she's like,
Ladies, don't settle for these brokies and dusties.
which is Andrew Tate. Andrew Tate terminology, brokies. He made that term popular. These red pillars are crypto feminists, seems to me. You know? Because she didn't say, what I didn't like is that she didn't say, hey guys, if you're a mid-white chick or above and you live in New York City, you can get this on the first date. So now what's going to happen? She triggers the insecurity and jealousy of other women. Sabotage. Women love to sabotage each other. So the 500-pound bitch in the hood is going to see that and she's going to be like, she's going to think that any guy who can't do that for me is a lame. You know, he's worth less than the scum in my project elevator. This is social media, and this is how women sabotage other women. And it's like all this, man, all this for a slightly above average chick with a crusty asshole who doesn't even wipe herself properly. And society is all in on it. I mean, think of all the endless hours of wage slavery that has to transpire just for a mid-white bitch to go on a date like that and not even know how to pronounce anything on the menu. I mean, wow.
Oh my god, is this peanut noir? I love peanut noir.
People wonder why I hate society. With that, I will take a break. Alright. A female went viral for coining the term boy sober. I was questioning whether I wanted to read the whole article, but it's really short. I try to get through it quick. I don't really care for reading articles. I don't like when other content creators do that shit. But anyways, I'll just get into it. It's called, this year I'm doing a dating cleanse and going boy sober by Daria Yasmin. In 2024, it's not a stretch to say the dating pool is rancid. They recycle the same terminology. Oh, it's rancid. It's full of piss. It's full of this. It's full of that. Bullshit. Bullshit. Chad doesn't want you. That's really the central issue that they will never talk about. It seems like no one is having fun, and they always frame it as if it's everybody. Seems like no one is having fun. Most guys don't get to date. It's literally just women and a relatively small percentage of men. No one is having fun, but we continue to participate anyway. As the designate, there you go. Continue to do the wrong thing, even though you know it's wrong. As the designated single girl of my friend group, I can't lie. I'm guilty of this too, of course. I don't know if it's subconscious or not, but I've always had my taxi light on. They're always available. Whether I'm
Talking to a cute guy on a night out, having a proximity crush at work,
this female work boyfriend, work husband, or passively participating in dating apps because I'm bored, consistently dating has always been the default, of course. There's no such thing as a woman who's not dating. Even when I did take breaks from dating, the occasional ex has tried to come back into my life. This just shows like why she's not worthy of being in a relationship. Because first of all, she always has her taxi light on, as she said. She's got exes in the background trying to get back with her. She has a proximity crush at work. Like this is not relationship material. Like what man is gonna read this and be like, oh, I want to wipe this up. With all this in mind, the following mess that was my last relationship. Do tell. They never tell. They never tell. Because that guy might come out and just completely debunk everything she's saying. I realize it might be better to go boy sober. Being boy sober is an intentional dating cleanse. Just cleanse yourself of all the Chad semen. It's abstaining from all aspects of dating. That means no dates, talking stages, situationships, hookups, and everything in between. Bullshit. I am not entertaining men in any way outside of platonic relationships, of course. Still want the free attention. I'll end the cleanse on my 25th birthday at the end of the year. Not at the end, in October, if I'm not mistaken. That's 7 months from now. When was this article written? Or published? Published it at the end of January. How much time is that really? You should make it seem like it's a whole year. But I think it's poetic and logistically wise for me to re-enter the dating pool once my brain is fully developed. I feel like black people especially use that word logistically in such a weird context. My brain is fully developed. Your brain will never fully develop. Like any female, you're locked at about age 12 level of maturity. You might be thinking, well, what if you meet someone great before then? Honestly, that is a bridge I don't plan on crossing, and you won't. You won't, because that someone quote-unquote great is not going to accept you at your current state, which I'm going to get into that in a second. I'm not putting myself in any situation where I'd entertain a romantic or even relationship or even focus on that right now. If a man wants to pursue me, he'll need to meet or exceed my criteria and patiently wait for my journey to be over. Again, what man wants to sign up for this? Because at the end of the day, I'm not just doing this as an exercise. They just talk. Like, they literally just use words. They speak in clouds, like I always say. Care to elaborate? That's why this article can be so short. Before I hit this next milestone, I want to make a conscious effort to put myself first in every facet of my life. Of course, I'm planning to focus on things that bring me the most joy, whether it's writing, traveling, or spending time with my friends and family. I also want to actively work towards the goals I've set for the 25-year-old version of myself. And if we're being honest, alpha fucks beta bucks. You know, this is the epiphany stage, basically. And if we're being honest, dating is a distraction for even the most focused people. I love the idea of love, the idea and the partnership as much as the next person, but for the time being, I'm turning my taxi light off. No, the fuck you're not. So I can get to my next destination. I think taking this time to focus on myself will make the dating world seem more appealing because I would have changed how I approach it. Alpha fucks, beta bucks. Before and during my last relationship, I spent a lot of time working on my communication skills. What does that mean? What does that actually mean? Seems like there's a whole article that links Oh, attachment styles. That's what she means. Triggers and overall bad dating habits. Do tell. Again, no elaboration. But through my boy sober journey, I hope to elevate what's required in exchange for romantic access to me. You can't make it up. Alpha fucks, beta bucks. I feel like a lot of us do things, quote unquote, for the plot. Remember I talked about that? For the plot. They speak in terms of fiction for the plot. I'm the main character. They say just stupid shit like this. Or because we're lonely. But as the late, great Whitney Houston saying, I'd rather be alone than happy. When I really think about it, I'm dating myself better than the average man could. Average being the key word there. They don't even think average is average. They think average is like Chad Light. Chad Light, who makes like, I don't know, 70, 80K a year or whatever. Which is not average, but, you know, when have women ever been logical about anything? I take myself on unique dates. She's dating herself. Treat myself to flowers, massages. My favorite food is cope. I genuinely love spending time with myself. Cope. For someone to even be considered, they need to meet my standards and interests. See, she wasn't talking like this when she was in college. When she was age 15 to about 21, she wasn't talking or thinking like this. She was on the cock carousel with Chad and Chad Lights and high tier normies. It interests me enough to be worth spending my time away from the peace and solitude I've created for myself. Yeah, because women totally thrive in solitude. Dating has become this game where everyone hides their feelings and doesn't want to be seen trying. Not everyone, that's just you and the Chads who are just passing you around. At the end of the day, I'm a romantic at heart, but I'm going to incorporate someone into my already busy life, not busy. Women don't actually do anything. This whole idea of being busy is bullshit. You don't do shit. I want it to be intentional on both parts. When it's time for me to start dating again, I'm going to have my blinders up to anything that does not serve me. They speak like lords. You must serve me. They think they're lords, man. I'm not dealing with nonchalant attitudes, disrespect, or any type of confusion unless you're Chad. For now, I'm going to continue building my dream life alongside my favorite people. Who is that? Gay male besties. And dumb whores like you who are supposed to be all in relationships. She said all her friends are in relationships. Yeah, because all your friends are white girls. And they know better than you. And they can command more from their own men than you ever will be able to. And you certainly won't settle for a black man who's at your level, because we don't even need to get into that. That much is obvious. But for now, I'm going to continue building my dream life alongside my favorite people. And when my time comes to re-enter the ever-changing dating pool, you won't have the experience to be able to deal with it, because you won't even know what's going on. This shit changes as fast as technology changes, because it's linked with technology. You know, dating apps. I mean, soon we're going to be using AI to date. But anyway, I hope it'll have been cleaned. Who's going to clean it? Who's going to clean it? It's up to women and that small percentage of men. They're not going to clean it. They like the system. They certainly prefer the system, the way the system currently works, to the alternative. You know, it's like I said, what's the alternative to hookup culture? The alternative to hookup culture is going back to the so-called patriarchal, or leaning more towards the so-called patriarchal system that these people supposedly hate so much. So it's not going to change anytime soon. It's going to get worse, if anything. You know, next thing you know, I'll have AI sex box and shit, and women will be totally obsolete. But yeah, regardless, but they still think they're in a position of power and a position to bargain. This chick is only getting older, and she's overweight already. And she's black. If I was a betting man, I'll say she has a preference for white men, because she's one of those black girls who goes to school in like Arizona. Like, man, I'm gonna get into this a little bit more, but I just wanted to read it just to give context. Regardless, I'll be well equipped to navigate this with an open mind while always protecting my peace and heart. All right. With an open mind, interesting. All right. It's so easy to recognize patterns, man. I literally pegged this chick from the moment I saw her on YouTube. How was I able to do that? Oh, Manosphere Highlights Daily, by the way. That's where I saw it. He makes pretty good content. I catfished a girl who looked just like that. fat black girl, even down to the hairstyle. So many of them have the same story. Imagine my lack of shock because I already suspected this. I went as far as to look at her Instagram. And she's basically the token black chick, Chad worshiper, and all that stuff. I predicted practically every step of her timeline, including the part where she used to be skinny. She used to be a lot better looking. They're all the same, man. Septum ring theory is real. I want to say she had a septum ring at some point. You know, you see the septum ring sickness with all groups of women. It's kind of like warning coloration. Like, oh, you know, I am an inherently treacherous person. Or whatever. I bet you this chick got tired of playing or getting played by white normies and high-tier normies. That seems like her range. Maybe the odd quasi-homosexual Chad on like a slow Tuesday or, you know. And then she started stress eating and got fat. And of course, the entire narrative she's pushing is womanese. Women will always sugarcoat and over-intellectualize their dating lives to make it look better than what it actually is and to avoid being honest and straightforward. And they speak in super ambiguous terms. It's like, just shut up. You got fucked and played by Chad, who probably called you a nigger in bed. I've heard this story from black girls before, in person. So I know, like, we can see you. You know, like Cat Williams, we can see you, okay? We know what's going on. We're not dumb. It's like, spare us the fluff already. You know, and again, I'm making assumptions because I didn't fully confirm that part. But all the signs are there. Like I said, I've known girls like this who look just like that, same hairstyle, talk the same, went to the same kind of college in the same region, like all that. And it's like these dudes typically don't want to be seen with you in public, aside from the gay ones who don't really care. That's probably why these chicks always have like some gay or effeminate bestie or some shit, because he also hates men. And of course, she didn't include the so-called platonic friends in the boy sober shit. Because let's face it, these chicks can't really go that long without male attention. And the so-called period of sobriety is not that long. It's not as long as she's making it out to be. So we'll see. We'll see how long that lasts. I recall reading an article where a chick proposed that she was doing the same thing with the boy sober. And she broke within like 1 week. You know, she's like, yeah, there was a hot skateboarder and I had to fuck him. I'm not making this up. It was on medium.com. One of those articles. But another dead giveaway is that she doesn't say anything specific about the men. When they get played by black men, it seems they have absolutely no problem organizing a lynch mob to try to ruin that guy's life. So, yeah, a lot of guys have 100 bodies, but no souls, 0 souls. There's no imprint, and they don't live rent-free in any woman's head. They haven't impacted her lifestyle or mannerisms in any significant way. But I know at least one guy got to this chick really good and real deep. Because this is the behavior of a bitch with relationship trauma. But, yeah, anyway. So, Psych Hacks had an interview with Soft White Underbelly. And it was pretty interesting. The other viral dating coach bitch was on there too recently. She's on there like twice. I don't like her, man. I think she's Iranian or whatever. She's one of those red pill bandwagoners. She's not really red pill. She just jacks the talking points and then turns around and says, oh, actually the red pill is quite misogynistic. Or whatever in that British accent or whatever. She's a chameleon, basically. But, yeah, Psych Hacks touched on a lot of things. He kind of like Jordan Peterson. I don't like the Jordan Peterson vibes of, I'm just going to jack the talking points of the red pill and I'm just going to say it in a politically correct manner. I'm a white guy and I have a PhD and all that. I don't like that aspect. But he has some pretty insightful things. He's leaning way more into the red pill than someone like Jordan Peterson. So there's that at least. But yeah, they talked about a lot of stuff like suicide, for example. And apparently a researcher from way back found that suicidality is increased mostly by something called anomie. Anomie. I've heard Tommy Sotomayor refer to it as entropy, at least, in a social context. And apparently anomie is basically like the removal of boundaries and standards, and it's like a removal of all boundaries and norms, and like a breakdown, basically, of structure. Something like that. You can look it up. I'll put like the Wikipedia summary or whatever on the screen. But a lot of people ask the question, why do whites commit suicide so much? I think anomie is a very good explanation, which I've kind of touched on. I've heard other people kind of touch on that too. The word anomie implies a removal of boundaries and social disconnect. Apparently, people were more suicidal during economic booms than they were during recessions and depressions. Even I've talked about this because I've been hearing that kind of thing for a long time. It seems like a contradiction, but it makes me think of how it was apparently the rich people who were offing themselves during the Great Depression because their understanding of the world had been completely flipped on its head. Again, it's like that removal of boundaries to where your options just completely open up all of a sudden in an inorganic sort of way, including but not limited to, among the options, one of them is just ending your life. And boundaries create structure. They help you make sense of things. And that's why trauma-based mind control and dark magic and those sorts of things, that's why it's about the breaking of structure, mental structure. It's about shattering one's understanding and sense of normalcy, destroying the baseline of thought to where nothing is actually real or reliable or trustworthy. Just like the dream I was talking about with the funhouse mirror and all that stuff. But yeah, interesting stuff to think about. They also talked about love. And I'm paraphrasing, but they described love as like a state of ecstasy, but at the same time, tremendous pain. The humiliated and the most vulnerable self exalted. But let's be real, it's just dumb as a man to be that vulnerable and irrational. As much as normies and females try to gaslight you and say,
it's okay for men to be vulnerable. Men should be able to...
No, the fuck it's not. Nobody wants an old woman. And nobody wants an emotionally vulnerable man. That's just a cold, hard reality. Certain predecessors seem to have thought that romanticized love was stupid. It was seen as like a sickness, like, damn, my condolences, you got that shit? Fuck. That is someone to feel pity for or even ridicule. Like, yeah, you're lovesick, you have cancer, haha. Schadenfreude. Isn't it funny that everyone makes fun of the person when it's not them who got their pants pulled down? I guess love is like that. It's like a hazing ritual or a rite of passage. From a Darwinian perspective, love is just your genes mind controlling you into feeling like you found the best reproducing opportunity reproductive opportunity that you can get, which may very well be true. You know, women obsess over the Chad who got away, or the Chad who doesn't want them. Celebrity. Normie males obsess over the one chick that gave them some pussy or attention that was somewhat decent looking. You know, you get the one-itis, the one-itis as they call it. Love is basically placing faith in somebody that they will not hurt you. Just like the Will Ferrell song where he's like, baby, don't hurt me. You know, what is love? You know, I can't sing. I certainly don't feel like singing. So, but I don't think this is actually his song, but you know what I mean. It's obviously not his song. I don't think it is. But it's like all the while you know full well that they will hurt you. It's like giving somebody a loaded gun. We really do want to have faith in other people, but are people worthy of faith? I mean, everybody slips up eventually. So how many chances should you give someone to screw you over? There's definitely a manipulative interplay between forgiving people for hurting you and being disappointed in them. Like, putting faith in someone is almost a means of control. Like, yeah, you should feel guilty if you disappoint me. And make sure you don't do it. You know. It's no wonder that in the modern world, love has become commercialized. If you're a Jew, why would you not exploit such a foolish impulse inherent to all humans? Meanwhile, you're still married to the whore that was essentially sold to you when you were 20 years old in marriage. A lot of Africans do the same thing. They will literally hate each other's guts, but divorce never even occurs to them. Conventional normie and female wisdom mandates that you must separate if you're not quote-unquote happy, whatever the fuck that means. So your feelings and whims dictate the situation, which is an inherently gynocentric way of being. How does that make sense? And these are the same people who wonder why they have broken communities and families. You can't even get the most basic unit, male and female, to work because they're caught up in toxic individualism. Mostly the females, of course, but sometimes the men too. But why give somebody the opportunity to hurt you in the deepest and most painful way? Because you're bored. It's a game of Russian roulette. Why would you play Russian roulette? Why would you gamble? Because you're bored. Life is fucking boring. We like to think that the scorpion and the frog has a good ending. But in reality, when people show you who they are, believe them. Maybe the ending of the story should be the scorpion telling the frog, I'm gonna sting you and we're both gonna die. And then the frog says, damn, okay, see ya. And then finds another way to cross the river. But the scorpion would probably still keep trying until the frog relents and says, okay, fine. Let's cross this river together. I'm gonna trust you. Maybe you get the one scorpion out of a million that's just a weirdo and won't betray you. You know, or maybe his stinger is broken. And despite trying to sting you, he can't actually kill you. We replicate relationships we saw growing up and we try to fix them, apparently. But we can't usually. It's inherently broken. There's a reason your parents did or did not work out. It's especially sad when guys try to replicate their parents' healthy relationship, quote unquote healthy, as far as he knows. He tries to replicate that with females who just aren't cut out for it. Like Michael Porter Jr., who, went semi-viral for commenting on that recently. But for the failed parental relationships that people try to emulate and then fix, just create a good ending, like I was saying. It's ironic how in the process of trying to retroactively fix that in your own life, you just discover why the shit never worked out in the first place. Trust is the ultimate thing you can give to someone. Total trust, faith, it's transcendent. How much that person values you is pretty much staked on that. Because if they really value you, they wouldn't even risk disappointing you. They would certainly try very hard not to. Kevin Samuels used to make the analogy of a job interview. You likely don't know anyone that just wings it at the job interview or at the job itself and scratches their balls and all this kind of shit. Because money is like God in this society. It's like I say, GOVMT, government, organizations, violence, money, and time. You could see a woman smoke like a chimney, keep her house looking like crap, the whole nine. Family visits, kids, grandkids. Rarely does it occur to her to make the place presentable, clean, move shit around, Maybe when the daughters come, she'll do that a little bit. So you can ponder that, female bias. But let the government show up for the most basic 2-second inspection. Clean the whole house. Make sure the whole place is spick and span. Psych Hacks said that it's actually quite hard to have sex with someone you love as a man, which I don't know about that, but it kind of makes sense because it requires some level of depedestalization. I've actually experienced that where it's like you value the humanity of the bitch too much to the point where you wouldn't want to degrade the situation with sex and like ramming your dick inside of her, Like, I wouldn't fuck my sister or mom, so I can see it. It's like Patrice O'Neal said, who he was actually quoted a lot in the Psych Hacks interview. They always get their shit from black men at the end of the day. But, yeah, he had a bit where he's like, I can't fuck something I respect. There is an inherently humiliating aspect to sex, especially for the woman. Like masochistic or whatever. And a lot of women do struggle with that, it seems. Like the average woman, especially if she's fat or ugly, she feels tremendous shame around the act of sex and enjoying it and being seen and being vulnerable and social standards and all that kind of shit. But I don't know. I think it goes out the window for Chad. I think the benefit of Chad is enough for them to overcome their insecurities. Or just to at least make a really good try. That's why attraction is so important, physical attraction and just raw attraction. I saw a good video about Hugh Hefner and Anthony Bourdain. Shout out to the person who emailed me that channel. It's a pretty good channel. They are probably the perfect examples of practical and idyllic love. from what we saw of Anthony Bourdain, he was obsessed with that Asia Argento Pizzagate lady, and it seems like it basically destroyed him. I talk all the time about how I saw Anthony Bourdain randomly in New York City about a month before he died, and we locked eyes for a while, and he just looked like the most miserable human being I've ever seen in my life. I do think there was probably more to that story with the Hillary Clinton stuff and him telling Hillary Clinton, please don't, well, not please, I don't know, I can't remember the exact tweet, but he's like, don't assassinate me, stop sending your goons, all that kind of stuff. Could it be that this man was so in love that he started to break his Illuminati pact and he just didn't care anymore? I guess that's the power of love, huh? Like Huey, what's his name? Huey Newton in the News, the Back to the Future song. But I guess so. I guess that's also the ignorance of it too. It's like blind bravery. But I don't judge guys when they're in those situations because I know I've been that guy, if not close enough. Too close. Patrice O'Neill said there's nothing worse than a man in love. It is the most miserable state of human that exists. I mean, am I wrong? It goes against every personal interest that you have as a man. It takes you off your path. I mean, it completely compromises you as a man. It's the one thing. It's the one thing that could completely destroy you. As a man, on every level, psychologically, spiritually, monetarily, materialistically, everything. You could be worth $1 billion. Doesn't matter. Look at Will Smith. I mean, shit, Will Smith is actually the perfect example. There's homeless men. There's a homeless man somewhere, drunk, high, shitting himself, smelling like shit, right? People are stepping over him, walking over him. He has nothing. He lost his family. Everybody he loves died. He got beat up. He got his ass beat the other day. He was molested as a child. All that, right? That man would not change places with Will Smith. That I think is how I can make my point. I would not trade places with Will Smith. That's how bad it is to be in love as a man. That's how bad it is. And some people will say, oh, he just got the wrong bit. No. That's the reason he has the wrong woman. Because he's that much in love. It's the two things just naturally go together. Like you don't see a man love a woman that much and it goes well. Or like she respects him. It just doesn't, nah. It's certainly extraordinarily rare if it is a thing. But anyway. A woman in love is fine. A man in love is a failure. There's literally no chance in hell that bitch loves you as much as you love her. Sorry. It goes completely against her nature as a woman. She's supposed to be the one looking up. There's no such thing as 50-50 affection. When guys love, we do it totally. I think we all know inherently that a man who makes a woman the center of his life is a failure. I've had bitches tell me that straight up. I can't be the only good thing in your life. That's just a nice way of saying that you're a loser. It's too much pressure for them. Like Kevin Samuels used to say, pressure is made for shoulders, not hips. But again, we seek love out of boredom. But idle hands are the devil's plaything, It's a very fucked up situation, man. Hugh Hefner, apparently he also, not surprisingly, he apparently also aspired to that idyllic form of love, but he wasn't able to correct himself. He was able to correct himself, my bad. And he just started pimping hoes. So fuck it. Well, I mean, that's not happening. Bitches ain't shit. Who do you think had a better and more satisfying life? And I'm asking seriously, him or Anthony Bourdain? Because there is a certain level of smug satisfaction that one experiences when they stick to their ideals against all odds. I have to say, as a person who does this, it's actually one of the best feelings knowing that the world could not corrupt you or turn you to the point of just giving up your beliefs and your principles. Even if it's the most ridiculous faith that makes sense to no one but you, at least Anthony Bourdain hypothetically got to die knowing that he never gave that up. He never gave up on love and trusting people. As corny as that might sound. Even Louis C.K. had a joke about it. He's like, damn, people are still trying? You know, when he sees a couple in the street, you know what? Good for you. Good for you. I notice a lot of Japanese fiction is like this. You know, like the Yakuza games and One Piece, which is inspired by Yakuza. Which inspired Yakuza, my bad. Shenmue inspired Yakuza too, which that was a great game back in the day. It's still a pretty good game. It's worth playing, I would say. But yeah. That's probably one of the reasons that Japanese fiction mogs Western fiction these days. Because the West is more concerned about if the trannies are happy than anything else. You know? Or the ESG score or whatever that shit is called. You know? And it's like all the bad guys in anime, they just completely gave up on people. They think people suck. And they can't be trusted. Which is true. But yeah, man. You learn more lessons from anime than school. Ain't that about a bitch? Yep. Shikatago nai, as they say. Can't be helped. But Psych Hacks also talked about certain conceptions of love and, you know, in religion, how they enjoyed the idea of unrequited love. And apparently probably the best example of that is the knight and the lady who gives him her favor. And it seems like it was required that they have a relationship without having a relationship. I kind of remember like watching a video about this kind of thing actually. And as if to like not sully the pure form of love, which is like no sex or physicality, some shit like that. Distance makes the heart grow fonder, I guess. Again, I've actually experienced that too, so that's definitely a real thing, I think. And the lady has to be taken by another man already, like she has to be married. You see this depicted in Game of Thrones with the jousting tournament. And maybe a good modern example of this is like the typical dancing scene, like salsa and bachata, I guess, where it's like, it seems like it's okay to dance with another guy's woman. It's kind of bastardized in the modern world, I guess. A lot of these chicks will do what the viral bitch did with Oh My Lay. Oh My Lays. You know, I just found out about this guy. He's like an Afrobeats performer, artist. But anyway, yeah, that shit went viral. And she basically humiliated her boyfriend on stage in front of the entire world. Literally had the guy grinding on her, and they were doing everything aside from straight up fucking. But because it went viral, the guy was able to turn that into opportunities. I'll say that's a decent trade. You know, you lost an ain't shit bitch, and now you have a big social media following. He went from like 1K to 30K. I'm sure he has even more than that at this point. he got to be on Kai Cenat's show and everything. The girl who embarrassed him was offered, I heard, to be on the show, but she wanted to be quote unquote compensated, which just goes to show how stupid women are. They don't see the long game. Kai Cenat has 5 million on YouTube, 9 million on Instagram. How arrogant a bitch can you be? That was a great opportunity also for her to try to clean up her image by being apologetic about it. But nope. Humility is not a thing for them. I need to be compensated, motherfucker. This is a Nigerian girl too. That's like one of the better communities of black women, supposedly. It's like they don't actually see their behavior as wrong. And that's the scary part. I wonder which one is more disappointing. When a chick behaves negatively just like you thought she would, or when you really have faith that she's a good person deep down, only to be proven wrong in such a flagrant and embarrassing, humiliating way. Damn. But you know what's worse? It's almost worse because that guy at least got something out of it at the end, like I said. But what's even worse, probably, is when that shit just happens and life goes on exactly the way it did. That's almost worse. That guy actually got stuff. He got real tangible benefits out of it. What about the rest of us, man? Where's my 100K followers? Where's my Kai Cenat invitation? You know? Where's my apology? Where's my public apology? I mean, damn. Women aren't good people, man. I feel like I'm one of the first people to say that. Straight up. I like to think I'm one of the people who made that popular to say that, but I don't know. How would I know? Well, you know what's even scarier, though, is that woman is going to have kids someday, man. She's going to have kids one day. I wouldn't be surprised if she already did. Some people have no business having kids. You know, I'm one of them. And that's okay, because I don't want them motherfuckers. Fuck them kids. Like the Bernie Mac meme. I could be a sperm donor, but, you know, don't nobody want no nigga baby, man. Even black women go out of their way to make their kids as non-black as possible. They obsess over their kids having quote-unquote good hair and all that. Again, we can see you. Like, we're not blind. Tall European men have the most in-demand DNA as far as men go. Sorry, just the facts. Take it up with God. I didn't make it like that. Fuck you. Take it up with God, because I know that hurts a lot of people's feelings. I don't care. But yeah, that pretty much does correspond with dating statistics that we, you know, the ones we actually have, the data we actually have to go off of, even if it's not perfect. Damn, this video is long. I only had an hour's worth of material. Fuck. The longer the video, the more editing I have to do, but it's whatever, man. I've been lazy as fuck about that too. But some idiot just overdosed, I guess. You know, hopefully it's a white chick. A lot of people are dying from fentanyl, man. And whatever, or maybe an illegal immigrant just stabbed somebody to death. I don't know. This is New York, isn't it? Welcome to New York, Goyam. Stab, stab. But yeah, they're Nigerian, you know, like I said. I guess Nigerians are taking L's. I mean, everybody's taking L's, right? half the population is women in every community. So of course you're going to take some L's. I guess they're westernized. They're very, very westernized, privileged, etc. In America, East Indians are mogging, at least financially. You have to ask, what do Indians do more than other cultures? Gee, I wonder. You think normies and crypto feminists are ready for that conversation? What's the one thing? Could it be arranged? Nobody wants to have that conversation. Something about the marriage is being arranged. I don't know. Women hate arranged marriages, which is how you know it's a good thing. But a lot of men do too, because they just want to fuck hoes. They want to have their cake and eat it too. Those are the same people who are going to turn around and tell you that, about community building, give you a whole lecture about dumb shit. That doesn't even matter. Cam Newton, I was talking about Michael Threets at the beginning of the video. Cam Newton is a football player who apparently got beat up by some kids that he was trying to help, or they tried to beat him up. I mean, he fucked them up, actually, from what I saw. Because, I mean, he's a former pro footballer, so that's like, you gotta be a fucking fool to think you're gonna, especially as a young person. But I guess that's what it takes. I didn't pay too much attention to this. I don't really care. But, if that did indeed happen, it just goes to show. People like Dr. Umar will tell black men they need to mentor Pookie and Pookisha's baby because Pookie is in jail and they don't have a father. But how about addressing the problem at the source and stop being dishonest? Because if I'm a betting man, I bet you those kids that tried to jump Cam Newton came from single moms or weak simp fathers. It's a vicious, vivacious cycle. The black men who try to circle back and help their community end up in situations like this a lot. You gotta help people who actually want help. The black gynocracy does not want help. It wants blind submission. This is why conscious black men are pulling out. And I get it. It's painful as a man to abandon your people. Not for guys like me, because I'm an aspie. I don't have a people. Never have, never will. But a lot of black men are going to learn the hard way because they're normies or they're neurotypical. I'm not going to say normies. They're neurotypical, they're extroverted, whatever the case may be. And they want to be a part of the group. And the most natural group is the people who look like you. But it's not your job to save people who don't like you and will stab you in the back the first chance they get. You should save yourself first. Put your fucking, put your gas mask on first. Like when you're on a plane. Save yourself first. You're a man. At the end of the day, we're men. We can build anywhere. We can build anywhere. It's like they need us. We don't need them. So, I don't know, man. Common sense. Common sense is a rare commodity, it seems. But, sadly, you'll probably make more money and get more satisfaction by pandering to racists who don't like black people. Even the incel community is run by black guys, which is one of the most racist communities on the internet. A lot of people realize you probably make more money appealing to racists than doing any pro-black shit. Because, first of all, they have more money. And this is how you end up with pander bears, because women spend more money than men. But Kevin Samuels kind of broke that mold, and he showed that you can make money appealing to men, and black men specifically. So that was dangerous, to say the least. White women have big, wide vaginas. Black men have big penises. Apparently, black men and white women have high fertility compared to other interracial pairings. So I guess opposites attract. Black women have the tightest pussies, according to the data I've seen. Where'd you get this data from? On the internet. So I look it up. I might put it on the screen if I feel like it. I don't think I have it on hand. It's actually on the Incel forum. One of the best posters on there is worthless Slavic shit. No spaces. Funny name. But he's a data nerd who posts all sorts of data all the time. I get a lot of shit from him. There's also this guy called Gecko Bus. No spaces. Bus as in Rosa Parks. Gecko as in Geico. But I saw some gook bitch say that black men and Asian women should fuck. Because Asian women have tight pussies. Black men have big penises. If anything, black men and white women is a better match because they're both big. But, maybe that's why black women hate us, right? Pussy too tight. But hey, maybe that's why they love us. Pussy too tight. Women like to be torn apart. That is true. Again, there's data on that too. People think I make this shit up. Showing that women get turned on by pain, physical pain, and all that stuff. That's obvious. You shouldn't even need a study for that. Like, that is so obvious. But yeah, seems to be on a spectrum based on how dark or light your skin is and IQ, all that stuff. I think IQ is bullshit, but apparently there is a correlation. Lower IQ is a bigger penis. Even the Romans and Greeks used to talk about that with intelligence. But it also means a tighter pussy. High IQ, small penis, big vagina. Cat Williams said something interesting in the Joe Rogan interview, which is that men with micro penises are the most likely to commit crime. And I can honestly see it. Like the Golden State Killer is the perfect example. He's known for that. But yeah, like I said, it's proven women love seeing men in pain. It's like a positive stimulus that turns them on. So, I guess you have to do it to her first. That's why all these chicks love bad boys, right? They always go about things in such a way where they think that we want the same things that they want. Men want the same things that women want. She wants a toxic roller coaster relationship, so she initiates that. It's 2024, and you literally still have women leading with their careers, talking about how much money they make for themselves, despite being told over and over again that men don't care about that. It's like these days there's two types of women: single and quote-unquote committed. When she's single, she's getting fucked, but without commitment, which of course she will complain about. When she's committed, she's getting fucked, but doesn't want the commitment, so they cannot be happy. Anyway, I didn't know if I wanted to talk about this or not, but this video is already too long. But the royal family, so it seems like what's going on with them, is it a distraction from something else? People going missing. Jacob Rothschild died, and people are saying, oh, the white horse and the black flag, and I don't know what the hell that was about. Apparently it's a rare thing. It's supposed to signify when royalty dies, or I don't know. But I do remember watching The Ring of Power, and The Ring of Power, I'm pretty sure said that Prince William is like supposed to be the Lucifer or whatever, like the king of the world. That the protocols of Zion and all that stuff talks about. So that would be interesting. If King Charles, I think, if he died and then Prince William becomes King William and introduced the mark of the beast and all that kind of stuff. So I don't know. We'll see. People are making fun of them, of course. Saying Prince Andrew is fat, Prince William is bald, everyone is black-pilled, even when it comes to royalty. There's no royalty for your face. There's no royalty for your hairline. All you have to do is see what people do in their livelihood. When their livelihood is on the line. If you run a restaurant, ugly people work in the back, right? If you're scouting for models to sell a product, you're not saying to yourself, okay, let me find some 500-pound fat ass to sell this product. Come on, man. Everybody's black-pilled. This kid in my school way back when in junior high school was crying because his dad made him shave his head for whatever reason. I think it was some kind of punishment. I know a lot of black parents do that kind of stuff. But it's like, why is that punishment? Is it because it's bad to be bald? But a normie will sit there and tell you, with a full hair transplant in their head that they flew all the way to Turkey for and spent thousands of dollars. They'll tell you, being bald is not a big deal. This is the self-awareness. You got to check yourself first. Why do people who get cancer care if they lose their hair? Why is it a virtue signal for their friends to shave their heads in solidarity? Like, what if cancer made bald people grow hair? Are your bald friends going to put on wigs to show solidarity? Oh, he's growing hair now, man. Fuck. You got to show support, man. You know how it is, man. The fuck out of here. Why do normies love to cap about everything? They think we're stupid. Everyone is invested in these convenient lies, I guess. It's like the glue that keeps this bullshit society running. Keep the men ignorant. Keep the women gaslighting the men. Keep the normies coping. And let the Jews collect. People love their delusions. Meanwhile, a man with nothing to lose, or an incel, finds himself on the fucking fringes every time. And everybody wants to push you off. They're just waiting for the excuse to push you off the precipice. You're already on the edge. But, yeah. This video is too fucking long, man. I wanted this to be fast, but I'm just rambling so much. It's fine. It's actually fine. It's fine, man. But, I'll probably just be lazy and just not put any visuals. So I'm like, fuck that, man. Unless it's like really important for the video. Anyway, I saw a video of a girl fangirling over Michael Jordan. And she elaborated how her fantasy of Michael Jordan is more important to her than the actual person, the authentic person. And that is celebrity worship in a nutshell. Speaking of delusion, right? Her need to believe in Black Jesus is so great, she doesn't even think of him as human anymore. He's this distant thing for her to hope for, to put on a shelf. She literally said that, like, I just need him to be on a shelf or whatever that I can look at. Like a trophy, Giving people the luxury of just being people. Isn't that a good thing? That's why these celebrities don't like it. A lot of them don't like it. And I kind of sense that from Michael Jordan too. Like, it's like, damn, I'm not God, It makes you resent people, I guess. But, I guess it's a balance. You have to have some idealism, right? But you also just gotta let people be people. Like I said, people are what they are. I think that was my previous video before this one. Yeah, it was. But yeah, I hope one day she's stuck in an elevator with Michael Jordan one day and he farts. Like, oops, sorry. It just had some Taco Bell. You know how it is. You want an autograph? Want an autograph, bitch? And then he like fondles her or whatever. Like, what you doing tonight? I really hope she stumbles into an elevator with him and he does all the fuck shit. But yeah. Anyway, I saw a video of Tommy Sotomayor, and I also saw a video of Jared Taylor. Why do those two go together? They both mentioned something that I've kind of noticed over the years, which is like how obsessed people are with terms like white supremacy and white devils and white demons and all that stuff. But if you think about it, those terms are actually complementary, because normies and women love psychopaths. They love devils. They love demons. They love domination. Hollywood glorifies it. If you think about it, being a good person isn't cool in modern culture. That's why I embrace that shit. I'm learning to embrace it, because it was similar, and it is to this day. It is similar with black people. You see kind of something similar on the other side, with like racists demonizing black men and saying we're gonna break into the house and rape their wife with our BBC and all this shit. It's like, tell me there's not a fine line between that and cuck porn. It's essentially a fantasy. It's like, does saying that kind of shit make black men less attractive to women? It's like, no. Everybody's a conditional feminist when it comes to a black man. And it's like, okay, go ahead. We're rapists, we're abusive, we're criminals, we're dumb, etc. Our dicks are too big. Yeah, sure. All the shit women used to slander men multiplied. Conversely, a lot of black people love a good slave movie, especially black women. I never got that shit. It's like, yeah, see, they used to rape us and beat us and shit. I swear they get off on that shit. See, they used to rape us. They think we're attractive. It's just that racism doesn't allow us to be together. Every 2 seconds, some black chick on Twitter is trying to use that and the fact that people watch ebony porn and they search for ebony porn as some kind of flex. It's like, look at the Loving versus Virginia case with the interracial marriage law. They fight for their right to date out and then dick police black men and give their black male simps marching orders to do the same. Meanwhile, black women apparently have way more kids. They certainly abort more kids, have more mixed race children. It's like, come on, have way more. And it's like, make it make sense. They're still butthurt over Travis Kelce going back. How dare he go back to dating white women? The double standards are crazy. How dare he date a woman that looks like his mom? I mean, that's the logic they always use to shame black men, right? You don't like your mama and all that shit. There was like some PhD scholar, black woman, who was like, oh, he still like black women, y'all. Don't worry. Like, that was basically what her tweet said. This is just a phase for him, y'all. They really think that once you go black, shit applies to black women. JFL. It's like that He's a Demon, that song from Fallout 4, where she's like, it's like an old song. That He's a Demon song, with the chick is literally calling the guy a devil and a demon the entire song. But it's clear that she's into it. You can hear just from the way she sings the song. It's like when Joe Jerkoff Biden called Trump supporters ultra magas, and Trump was like, "Thank you, Joe, very cool." They took that nickname and ran with it. Like, yeah, that actually sounds really cool. Like, by the way, wasn't it funny when Joe Biden was eating fried chicken with the black people? It's like, you can do anything, man. They'll still vote for you. They literally play in your face. And he made sure he highlighted the fact. He's like, yeah, oh, I just got a hamburger. I just got a hamburger just to show I'm not like you Negroes. You ain't eating no chicken with y'all. It's like, damn, man. They should have really went all out. He should have got a 40-ounce Kool-Aid, KFC, watermelon. So I don't know why they had to make food racist. I mean, if you told me you had all that sounds like a good time to me. I mean, shit. I'll accept the stereotype. Say, I just went to KFC. There's nothing but white people in there. It's like, why does the food have to be racist too? But anyway, I saw a Bill Gates video as well. Speaking of devils and demons, he's literally eating this synthetic food that he supposedly endorses and taking like the tiniest baby bites. And I really wish I was there, because I would have been like, nah, take a bigger bite. Take a nice big spoonful. Aren't you hungry, sir? It's like, bro. It's like, do you even trust this food that you're trying to get into every human body in the universe? These people play in your face, I'm telling you. They're saying mosquitoes are killing people in New York. I knew something was up with that shit. They say like one person died because they're carrying like a rare virus or some shit. Bill Gates mosquitoes. I've been saying it for a while now. It's unusual how many of them there are and how the climate is so warm here these days. But luckily not today. It's too cold. I got my window open and I haven't been bitten yet, so it seems like it is too cold today, thankfully. Yeah, I guess he's continuing his dad's eugenicist agenda with Margaret Sanger and all that shit. I wonder if ancestral memory is real. So you gotta wonder how far back it all goes. Obviously, you inherit certain things from your parents, like culture and genetics. Generational trauma is supposed to be real. I was watching this video of a beaver that was raised by humans, and it's like building a dam in the house. It just inherently knew how to do that. So clearly it's real on some level. I even saw some accounts of people getting heart transplants and gaining the memories of the people that they got the transplant from, allegedly. But them motherfuckers want to say black folk don't need reparations, man. It's like, come on, man, everybody else. But yeah, I really, I think at this point, reparations is all about like the U.S. government being able to wash their hands of black people for once and for all. Like the last thing on the checklist. All right, we did it all. We imported all these immigrants to replace you. So shut up. Like the Mexican dude with the that was wearing the jacket, the work jacket, or he's like, "You lazy, man. No money for you no more, man. You black people lazy, man." It's like, your replacement is already here, Negroes. Once we give you some bullshit reparations bill that's not going to do anything because you won't address the gynocracy in your community, which is the foundation of all your problems, the United States is done with you. The Democrats certainly are, because they already got all these new voters and shit. New slave class. Yeah, crazy shit. Crazy times. But we probably should have a sugar tax. I mean, fat ass libertarians are going to say, don't tread on me, bro. But if we can have regulations on drugs, why not sugar? why did I have this written here? Like this is so random. It doesn't even follow from what I previously said. But sugar is pretty much a drug, you know. It's a money machine for corporations to make money, get people hooked, and all that. Damn. I can't believe this video is so long. God, it's just too long, man. Oh my gosh. Alright, now we're almost done. Yeah, in a world like this, I would rather have a gay son than a thought daughter. You know, you also have to quantify what a thought actually is. Like, how many bodies is that? Is it 50? Is it 5? I mean, but clearly it's better to have a gay son. Because a man can be respected and admired and have a good life. Oh, and by the way, still have family and kids, despite being gay. You see this all the time. You never in your life do you see a thought or a hoe who is respected and who goes on to live a stable and good life. It's certainly much less common than a gay man doing that. There's a long list of gay men who are respected because men can create value in so many ways that have nothing to do with sex. Even P. Diddy is still respected despite all the stuff that he's going through right now. It's like normies don't get it. What a man does with his genitals is relatively inconsequential, unless you're just a hater or some shit. Or a gynocrat. Dick policing gynocrat. A man does not destroy his community because he stuck his dick in a random hoe who happened to not be in his community. That's a conquest, if anything. People want men and women to be the same so bad, but only when it comes to the shit that cucks men and gives women quote-unquote male privileges, which they don't even want. That's the fucking irony of it all. Andrew Tate said something along the lines that people who say they don't care about having nice and fancy things are coping because they're broke. But Andrew Tate is not the only rich person in the world. There's this guy named Mark Zuckerberg, and I'm just using him as an example. Way more money than Andrew Tate. Why doesn't he drive around in a Bugatti or Bugatti? Bugatti. Could it be because he doesn't give a fuck? Could it possibly be that not everybody cares about the same shit? And I always find that it's people who grew up poor who maintain the mindset of being impressed and obsessed with expensive materialistic things and with money. All the while, they're pretending to be the most spiritual people on earth. I think Mark Zuckerberg cares way more about his agenda to change the world than he does about his personal possessions and how nice they are and how expensive, and look at me, I'm so much better than you. It's childish shit. It's like, hey, my ball is better than yours, but you can't play with it. If you gave me $1 billion right now, I'll give 99.99% of that shit away. Because I don't give a fuck. It's like, what's more important? Your own personal vanity and peace of mind? Or the people you care about being good for generations to come and your peace of mind? I mean, this is what I meant to say. Normies don't believe people like this actually exist. But it's like, not everyone is a Matrix puppet. They do exist. Been there the whole time. Your lack of faith in the Force is disturbing. Sometimes I feel like I live in the Twilight Zone. Neurotypicals and toilets just talk ineloquently, without elaboration, without context. Everybody's supposed to just get it. Just get what they're trying to say. There's this one dude on Twitter I fucking hate who does that shit. It's like, I don't know. I'm not plugged into the normie script, I guess. I could walk away from society today and hardly anyone would care, which is good. That's the freedom of being a man. I noticed that the average female, if she goes missing for even a few hours, she's getting texts up the ass, phone calls asking where she's at. I imagine it's similar with Chad. Not the same, but similar, close enough. There's a lack of freedom in that, but hey, at least people give a shit. There's no such thing as Miss How, though. Man sent his own way. Make Tao, man going his own way, whatever. No such thing as that with Chad, because people literally chase after Chads everywhere they go. The average normie doesn't experience this, so they think it's a lie. I have a Giga Chad neighbor, actually. I've been living here for years. I've probably only seen this dude 3 times. It's like, you think he has privacy? I hardly see him outside. Even when the weather is great. He's hiding from his normie fan base. And that's how it is. Look at the celebrities. When you're a sub-chat, you find that people just kind of leave you alone. Because they don't really want you around anyways. Obsidian out.